What is it that really makes a ghost story scary? Is it the thing that jumps out at you? Or is it that feeling, that slow burn of dread when something totally normal just starts to feel wrong? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got this absolutely chilling story, supposedly a true one, from Uttar Pradesh. We're going to see how a simple act of kindness at a bus stop just completely spirals into a night of pure terror. And right off the bat, they hit you with the four most terrifying words in horror, based on a true story. I mean, think about it. The second you hear that safe little wall between you and the story, it just crumbles. And that's exactly what this account does. It's not presenting itself as some campfire tale. No, it's telling you this happened. And that changes everything. It makes you lean in a little closer, doesn't it? All right, let's get into it. Let's set the scene. It all starts on what should have been a totally normal evening. But as you can probably guess, it's about to unravel into an absolute nightmare. The best horror stories always start somewhere, well, kinda boring. And this one is a perfect example. We've got our main character, Ronit. He's just a 15-year-old kid. He's finished his tuition classes, and he's at a bus stop in Uttar Pradesh, all by himself, just waiting for the bus home. Super normal, right? The story does this on purpose. It sets this really ordinary, relatable baseline so that when things get weird, they get really weird. And here it is. This is the moment everything changes. Ronit's just standing there, and he sees an old woman sitting nearby, and she's crying. This is that classic inciting incident you hear about in storytelling. It's the little thing that kicks off the whole chain of events, pulling this normal evening off its tracks and steering it straight towards something dark.
So what does Ronit do? He does what any decent person would do. He sees someone upset, and out of simple human kindness, he offers her his bottle of water. But, and this is such a classic move in horror stories, his good deed is about to be punished. Big time. His act of compassion isn't going to save the day, oh no. It's the very thing that puts a giant supernatural target on his back.
Okay, so he's offered her water. Let's see what happens next, because this is the exact moment the story slams on the brakes and takes a hard left turn into pure horror. Whoa, talk about a personality switch. That poor, sad, crying old woman, gone, just like that. In her place is something menacing. She looks at him and says, "Do you know where my husband is? If you know, tell me right now, or it won't be good for you." I mean, chills, right? This isn't a question, it's a threat. The whole power dynamic just flipped on its head. A second ago, Ronit was the one helping. Now he's the prey. And then Ronit looks down. And what he sees, this is the big reveal. This is the stuff of nightmares. First, her feet. They're broken, like twisted at an angle that's just not humanly possible. And second, and this is the real kicker, she's not even touching the ground. She's just floating. A little bit, but it's enough. At this point, Ronit knows. This isn't just some strange lady. This is something that breaks the laws of physics. And that is absolutely terrifying. So what do you do when you see that? You run. And that's exactly what Ronit does. His brain just screams, "Get out of here." He doesn't think, he just reacts. He drops the water bottle, the very thing that started this whole mess, and he just bolts. He's hoping he can outrun whatever that thing is. But here's the thing about this kind of horror. You can't always outrun it. He might have gotten away from the bus stop, but he did not get away from her. The terror followed him. And it followed him to the one place in the world you're supposed to be safe, your own home. Later that night, something wakes him up. He looks at the clock. It's 2 a.m., what they call the witching hour, the time when the veil between worlds is supposedly at its thinnest. And just look at how this terror ramps up, step by step. First, he hears it, that same crying sound from the bus stop. Then he opens his eyes, and his heart must have stopped, because there she is, the same woman, sitting on his bed. And then he sees what she's holding. It's his water bottle, only it's not filled with water anymore. It's filled with blood. And before he can even process that, she lunges at him and starts strangling him. And as she's attacking him, she screams this impossible accusation. Ronit killed her husband. Think about how terrifying that is. This isn't just some random monster attacking him anymore. Suddenly, it's personal. It's a vengeful spirit, and she thinks he is responsible for her pain. That's a whole different level of scary. So, what happens now? How does he get out of this? Well, that brings us to the last part of this story. the aftermath, and the massive, unsolved mystery that's left hanging in the air. Ronit is screaming, fighting for his life, and thankfully, his parents hear it. They burst into the room, probably expecting to find him having a nightmare or something. Their arrival is the key here. It's the intervention that changes everything. And this is another classic ghost story rule, isn't it? The second his parents flip on the light, the second other people are there to witness it, poof, she's gone. She just vanishes from right on top of him. It's like the horror can only exist in the dark when he's alone. And here's maybe the most isolating part of the whole story. Imagine trying to explain what just happened. To his parents, who see an empty room, their son is just hysterical from a really bad dream. But for Ronit, he was just in a literal fight for his life with a ghost. So you have these two totally different realities, and he's left completely alone in his, with no one believing him. And it doesn't even matter if it was real or not, because the effect on him was very, very real. The story says he was shaken up and scared for months after this. He actually quit his tuition classes. And you can bet he never ever took that road with a bus stop again. The trauma from that night stuck with him big time. So in the end, we're left with this huge, chilling question. Who was that woman? Was she a vengeful ghost? Was it all some incredibly vivid, terrifying hallucination? The story never tells us. And honestly, that's what makes it so effective. It just leaves you with that unsettling thought that maybe the line between our world and whatever comes next is a lot thinner than we like to think. And maybe it's waiting for you at the next quiet, lonely bus stop.